Hello and welcome back to On the Workbench. Today we're taking a look at the Husky 1/4 inch torque wrench, good from 40 to 200 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds, inch-pounds. Divide those numbers by 12 to get to foot-pounds. So let's take this out of the box, but first let's take a look at a couple of details on here. Yes, this is made in China. You can see it does come with a case, and this has what's rather unique for a torque wrench, a lifetime warranty. I'm sure there's going to be some caveats to that. But let's get this out of the package here and then take a little bit closer look at this tool. Alright, with the blister packaging removed, we've got our torque wrench here. And this torque wrench is just a nice small size. It is obviously a 1/4 inch, so you expect it to be relatively small in your hands. Let's get out the tape measure and measure how long this is. The overall length of this ratchet is about 10.5 inches. The height of the ratchet head is about 1/2 inch. And of course you have your 1/4 inch anvil. And this is a click style torque wrench. You've got a forward and reverse selector. Generally you're only using the reverse selector on a torque wrench if you have a left hand thread screw that you're trying to tighten down. Otherwise, if you're loosening, you're better off using a breaker bar or a regular ratchet. And so let's see, the first couple things here is that this does come, unfortunately this one actually looks like it did not come backed all the way down. In general, you want to store your torque wrench backed off all the way. And so you can see, to adjust this here, I pull this little collar back, then I can turn it. Then there's a scale on this side here in inch-pounds. If I flip it over, it's in Newton meters for metric. And so I'm about 99% sure that this Husky is actually really just a rebranded gear wrench. In fact, I can feel a little bit of the ratchet head lube there. Let's listen to the ratchet. And now in the specs, this does not actually say how many teeth this ratchet is. So we're going to do just a little quick test here. So this is about maybe a 40 or a 42 tooth count ratchet. It definitely could be a little finer, but it gets the job done. And so this does automatically lock into place with this collar whenever you want to go to adjust it. And then there's a positive lock. It pops in there and you know it's good to go. There is another, you see this wide plastic bolt down there for the adjustment. Hopefully we don't need to play with that. Let's look at the paperwork that comes with this. We've got what should be a certificate of inspection. And so this has been tested. And this was tested on January 6th of 2019. And it's got a serial number and some test statistics here. Proper care and maintenance. Each torque wrench is lubricated before leaving the factory. It has not been used for some time. It should be operated several times to redistribute the lubricant within the working mechanism. Never set for higher or lower torque values than those indicated on your wrench. Never use a torque wrench to apply more torque than its rated capacity. Do not over torque. So in other words, don't use this as a breaker bar. Looking at the Husky guide here, we've got just some more on the specs and how to use a torque wrench and extensions. Let's see, what else we have on the back. We've got examples of adjustment, and then the grip. This says nothing about the fine adjustments for bringing it into calibration. And so overall, this is actually pretty small and nimble. You can see a little bit of that grease there on the head. And so hopefully this will last for a while. If there's any trouble with it, I can take it back to the Home Depot. It is Husky. And the positive that I'm seeing on this owner's manual is I'm not seeing the usual caveats that you get with torque wrenches. Most torque wrenches that you buy only come with about a 1-year warranty if you're lucky. Sometimes it's 90 days just because they are pretty fine tools. But I'm not seeing that caveat there, or the certificate, or on the package insert here. It just simply says, if your Husky hand tool ever fails, bring it back and we'll replace it for free. For details or full warranty, visit your nearby store or call 1-800-HD-HUSKY. And so I don't know, maybe there's a good chance of this being actually taken for a lifetime warranty. I've got to say that if that's actually true, or if you get any experience with lifetime warranties on these Husky torque wrenches, please put in the comments below. I'd love to hear about that. I think other people would find that useful. And so I thought this was nice. One of the downsides I see with this case is this is not an actually properly hinged case. It's just simply a soft plastic on the hinge here. That enough opening and closing will certainly cause this hinge to fail. And so I got this wrench for about $70, give or take. I did have a rebate gift card from the Home Depot I was able to use to make this a little cheaper from previous purchases. But otherwise, it's about $70. And I don't know that I've ever really seen these go on sale because, I don't know, these aren't the sort of impulse buys that sales are more prone to be on. Because if you need it, you need it. But they're also not a very fast-selling item. And so that's your look at the Husky 1/4 inch torque wrench. All right, so now right out of the box, we're going to give this a test. I've got a digital torque adapter set up into my vise. Don't mind me, I got a little bandsaw blade hanging there. And then I've got an adapter here. This is 1/2 inch to 3/8 to 1/4 on the stack there. Looking at the manual for my torque adapter here, this has a range of plus or minus 1.5 foot-pounds for less than 50 foot-pounds. And so then here, I'm going to set this to 80 inch-pounds, which works out to about 6.6 pounds. And so if I set this to 80, this is going to take a few rotations. This is about the sweet spot of this tool. All right, there we go. That's set to 80 inch-pounds, which again is about 6.67 foot-pounds. All right, so now what we're going to look at is here. So now let's take a look at the test setup here. So I've got the electronic torque gauge here. This should be reading about 6.67 as our target at 80 inch-pounds. And then over here on the vise, I think you can see my finger, is the setup here. So I've got the digital torque adapter here on the cord going to the meter. And then there's a 1/2 to 3/8 reducer, 3/8 to 1/4 inch reducer. And I'm going to put the torque wrench on top. I might have to move the camera up here just a touch to be able to see this all. And hopefully you can see the number right here in frame. Just bump that, reset that to 0. And I have to be careful that I don't accidentally try to push this beyond the click, because that'll obviously give a slightly larger reading. The goal is to stop when it clicks. So now here we go. There we go, 6.7 foot-pounds. And it's supposed to be 6.667. I think we'd call that perfectly fine since it's supposed to be, since this is only going to 1 decimal place, we'll repeat it. Reset that to 0. It showed 7.5 foot-pounds that time. Reset to 0 and try again. 7.3. Re-0. 7.6. 6.4. 7.1. 7.1. 7.1. 7.1. So you can see we've actually gotten quite a few readings that are right in the ballpark of what this is supposed to be at 6.67 inch-pounds. And at 7.1, you're looking at about a 6.5% error. So that's slightly, a little bit higher than what I would desire, but that's probably close enough at this range here. It's not going to be perfect. No torque wrench is going to be perfect, particularly at these low-end ranges. It's a little bit harder to be able to get, just everything precise and that you don't go slightly beyond the click. Some of that could have been me as the operator going just slightly beyond after it clicked. It'd be nice if there was a little greater travel distance here at the head so that whenever it clicked, you bent it just a little bit more without actually applying any more torque. Particularly important when applying certain automotive gaskets that you get it down to the correct torque. and just as importantly, a uniform torque across whatever it is that you're assembling to make sure that the pressure is uniform across whatever gasket or seal you're applying. One other accessory that you might want with this 1/4 inch torque wrench would be this. This is an SK 1/4 inch square to 1/4 inch hex magnetic bit holder. So if you've got any screws that need to get tightened down to a specific torque, you can take just your small basic insert bit, drop that in like that, and then put it on the end of your torque wrench. And then now you've got the ability to be able to set the torque on other screws or fasteners of whatever size. If you don't want to use the insert bit, here's a slightly longer power bit. Drop that in the magnet, and the magnet will hold it. Now bear in mind there is going to be some torque loss going through the transfer from the bit to the socket to the ratchet, so it's not going to be quite as precise as you would get if you could just drop a socket on, but this is going to be probably close enough for most applications, and you'll be fine. If you're interested in this little SK adapter, I'll put a link to that below for an Amazon link if you want to check that out. Otherwise, you can check out this torque wrench at the Home Depot or the gear wrench variant, which I'll also link to below. And I hope you found this video useful and interesting. If you have any questions or comments, put them down below and I'll do my best to answer them. And have a great day. Bye.